Hey guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel covering front end replacement on this DB6. Yet again, this is our fourth maybe and final episode that we're going to be doing on this particular job. What we're going to tackle now is go around all the edges, just file them all so they're nice and consistent. Get everything deburred. We need to acetone all of the layout fluid and the permanent marker on there as well, so get rid of all of that. What else we've got to do? Oh yeah, we're going to go around all of our returning edges and anneal them. So we'll run you through the process and what we do there as well. All the vents have been trimmed and everything's been sanded down nicely, so there's no burr edges or anything horrible and sharp that's going to slice your fingies off. What else? We're nearly there. Oh yeah, just finish wiring edge around the bottom of these. Again, we've bent it to shape, so we'll finish that when it's on the car itself. Kenzie as well is just going around, finish up any final prep work on the actual steel before we get into paint as well. So yeah, a lot to take on there. That was a bit of a waffle, but yeah, I think we're ready to get it on very shortly. So yeah, stuff, things. These are fully welded. You can see I've actually started making an effort at getting this sanded down. I'm just going to quickly run through the methods and show you a bit of the process before I go too wild with it. So I said before about cross-contamination, keeping your dollies and hammers separate to steel or just keeping them clean, repolish. So we're using these, same contour as the wing, just to pick both sides, using the flat side and reverse to get out the real lows next to the welds, and then basically using the body file, which is this, which is pretty savage and aggressive. So we'll run through it diagonally, from both directions. And trying our best to concentrate as much on the weld as possible. We are going to hit the metal both sides, but we're not taking too much material off there. That's basically just your guide. So you want to be focusing your sanding efforts on bringing down the weld. So we'll just keep repeating the process, hammer and dolly, file it back, then maybe run over it for 120 DA, and do that a couple of times till we're happy. The reason for doing it now before it's on the car is because a portion of this you can't get to the back of when it's on there. So we want to get this to as good as surface level as possible before we attach it. So from just a bit more hammering, picking, dollying, filing, and then a quick run over with the 120, you can see the weld is disappearing, the distortion is disappearing, and you know the shape is actually looking pretty good now. Right, I've now got that finished up, dressed, planished, and sanded back 120 to a good enough standard, so I'm happy with that. I'll just show you the back side of the weld as well. See that, it's all good, hammered in nicely, all fused really nicely. Now the reason we weld both sides, what we can get to with aluminium, is that it can be like a real fickle mistress at times. And if the planets don't perfectly align, then you can get basically cracking down the back of your weld, which can draw in contaminants, and if you can't hammer it out properly, then obviously it's going to weaken your weld and you could get cracking on the outer face. So we weld with back where possible. Both sides done. See the back of there as well. This side I'm still kind of 80% through this, so you can see I'm still in the middle of picking and filing this. So another kind of an hour or so, and I'll be done on this side as well. So we're going to do the annealing process now. Those who aren't familiar with it, it's used on aluminium to make it more malleable for panel beating purposes. So it makes it a lot more soft, so you've got a lot more maneuverability with the material without it tearing. So there we go. So we need to set all this up like that. And then, layman's terms, cook it off. So the soot is almost like a guide, an indicator, a temperature indicator. So when you've burnt that off, it acts as like an indicator for that particular thickness metal, that it's changed the temperament of that alloy. Does that make sense? I mean, there are other methods you can use, like heat crayons, obviously a temperature gauge. Then you can hold a thermometer on it and get it to the optimum temperature for annealing the metal. But I'm not that much of a boffin when it comes to that. This is a traditional process, it's always worked, and you can also anneal this more than once. So if I start dressing around and I feel that it's not quite supple enough, then I can anneal it again. But obviously I want to anneal this off because on the car we've still got like wiring, fuel lines, brake lines and stuff in there, so I want to avoid annealing while it's on the car. So we are also going to prep inside the aluminium shell here. 120, degrease it, and we're going to fire some polycoat protect over that as well, apart from, you know, the areas where we're going to be returning over, because that's counterproductive because it just cracked back off. As I was saying, so yeah, we've got the inside of this coated now. So this is a direct metal epoxy coating. It's called Polycoat Protect by Noble, those guys. So this is actually very, very durable layer. It's actually designed for like chassis and suspension and everything like that. So this is like a perfect product to stick on the inside of it. Like I say, I've left these bits because as we're going to turn around, we don't want it to crack off or anything like that. So that's all done now, and we've done the same to the front frame. This is all done around basically all the work we've done, all the edges, cleaned up all the rust, and this is where we've had all the repairs done. These have been coated as well, and those have now been riveted back on. All the return flanges where we're going to be wrapping the aluminium round. Now we've that's obviously been painted with the Polycoat Protect, and we've also used a cloth tape membrane to wrap around those edges just for double protection. So hopefully you can see in shot I've got the laser line set up again. Now the reason for doing that is I've got to drill the holes in the front of the panel for the front bumper. So the idea of the laser line is to laser line the exact level across all four bumper mounts. And obviously I've got a sensor datum with the laser line, so as long as no one knocks that, I'll be absolutely fine. And then I've done a drawing. So obviously the horizontal laser dissects through the bumper mounts. The center one is my datum point for my measurements going outwards. So when I put the front end on, like I say, as long as no bugger to kick that karate chop out of the way, then when the front end's on, all I'd have to do is measure outwards from a centre datum and drill the holes. Sounds easy. Anyway, that's my only method I can see of getting the holes in an accurate position. So, and they're fairly big holes, about 22mm I think, so I don't want to be cocking those up.
tipping all this edge round, I've gone round carefully, just with the hammer, just on the edge, just to tip it, just to find out where my line is. I'm using the file just to pick out the line a bit nicer, so I've got something to follow. Putting pressure on the top of the panel just with a rubber block, just so it doesn't mar the top of the surface, and dressing as I go. I'll show you this and you can see how it's looking already. So, windscreen aperture is taking shape, and this is starting to edge over quite nicely. Right, so now I've done my initial tipping over with my hammer along the edge there. I'm going to use the door skid pliers. They've got like a soft nylon block on, just to help finish easing the edge over. So that should be quite nice, and then I'll just file and hammer the edge to like even it up afterwards. Got these little hop up, these are my little legs. So this is the hardest bit to do now, so the idea is to get as much kind of pre-tension on this panel as possible before tipping the edge over and before joining it. Otherwise you'll have a really floppy panel. So as you can see, whoa, this is Tony Tiger tight, this is. So then I've just cut this panel in together, welded across this leading edge so I can finish tipping that under. Wow. Right, that's this side welded up and returned round now. That actually didn't go too bad. These are the bits I've been dreading because the aluminium is really thin there. So just cleaning up with soft wire brush the aluminium prior to welding. First I've got a blowhole there where the old aluminium is so thin, it's like dust. But there's a crack in the pillar there, just from cleaning that back. So that is going to cause me an issue. And hey presto, she's done. So yeah, just had to give it a bit of the old weave hoe up there, and yeah, she's good. She had enough material in there to file it back and obtain the line, but still have enough meat there as well.
How's Adam's van going?
Hang it there.
One of the things that's been worrying me about finishing up the front end of this aluminium work is this kind of double recess joint on the bottom of the window aperture. So it's almost like it kind of does something like that. So obviously the front end, the panel is too big to get into our suasion. Chasing it by hand is going to be, one, very difficult, and two, not completely possible as well. So I have decided to make myself a tool. Just an old pair of bolt croppers that I've had lying around, because you've got seriously good leverage on these. And then just with some 10mm steel stock, which made a male and female die of the correct profile of what I want. Crunch. So today, I love cats. So this is probably one of the most important bits of the front end, is getting this screen recess correct. As you see, it's a bit of a fiddly one to tip around. So initially I've gone in and chased my line. I've used my tool on the central areas where I can't chase. That still needs a bit of work. I'm starting at the edges and working my way through. So chase the line out and get that groove in the right place. And yeah, then literally using this funky shit dolly, getting in there and just tipping round as I go. That needs, it's imperative that is pinched up really, really nice and tight. So yeah. Right, that was a bit of a long grueling task, getting this windscreen aperture done. Yeah, that's killed me a bit, but it's all there, and it's you know, it's looking pretty good. Quite happy with how that's turned out. So I've got that recess in the fold round, quite nice. Needs a bit of a dress back here and there, but before I go too mad with that, the next stage is get the windscreen and the glass in. Before I do that, kept the old scuttle panel as a template. Ta-da! So I can mark out where the wiper and washer holes go. So I'll get that done and get the holes drilled in this next. Now I'm just going through and just refining all the edges where I've crimped the aluminium around the steel. The aluminium's quite soft from where I annealed it, so I've got some imperfections just where the tooling's pressing it slightly, and it's just dented the aluminium surface just a little bit. So I'm just going around and with the 240 just quickly sanding, picking up the lows and dressing down the highs. Just working on this little bit here. I've already been attacking this bit, so it was a lot worse. So it is getting better now. Just carefully picking up from underneath. Sanding back over it until it's much better. Oh yeah, it's tons better than what it was. I've got quite a load here that I've got to attack. So you see there where it's quite low. So this is quite a difficult bit because there's naturally, obviously, this detail line that runs up here, but it is definitely low. Right in there. Just carefully as I go, because it's, like I say, it's aluminium, it is still quite soft. Doing that and repeat the process till I'm happy. Right, here's the gap. You can see quite big there, so I'm just going to weld that and file it back. The rest of it I have been kind of dressing and filing as I go. Still a little bit tighter in the middle there, so a bit more work to that. But like I say, once that's shimmed back, that'll be a nice consistent gap. Yeah, this store isn't as good fitting as the other side.
as I'd like to be. It's a little bit proud up here, and where I've welded it here, it has sunk in a tiny bit here as well. So I've got that to do. I need to, it's a bit wide here. So again, I've got to weld and file that back a little bit. So this side hasn't turned out as good as the other side. So I've just made some 1.5mm packers, and I've stuck them behind the hinges here. And as you can see, I've got a much better consistent gap there. And it's consistently the same as this back leading edge as well. So yeah, those shims have solved one issue. I've still got to do a bit of welding and filing up this section here. So I've got the seal welded to the wing now. That was a difficult weld because I'm lying on my back trying to control the pedal, and it's a vertical weld, so very difficult with aluminium. So that was fun. Hence why I didn't film it. I've got the extra piece welded up on top here now. That was nice and easy, and I've finished welding around the arch, and that is ready to finish off the wire edging. But at the minute I am looking at filling up that void there, so I basically need to make a little extension for the seal. Now I've had a look at a couple of different examples, and they all kind of differ slightly, so I've basically just got to make it look nice. And there's my technical drawing so far, so we'll see how this goes. And just like that, it's done. I didn't film the process of that because one, I was in a bit of a hurry, and two, it was quite stressful. So yeah, double fold on the panel there. This bit was a bit awkward. I had to cut and fold a piece there, and then taper it off and shape it to fit around here. And that's all been welded up there, all welded across there. It's fully welded now. When welding aluminium, if you're doing an edge weld, always good to have an extension, so you don't get any burn back on the edges. So now I can just cut it off and dress it back, and it will just all look like one panel. So yeah, little tip for you there. And then I just got to dress that, put rivets back in. That's that done. And then onto the other side. I'll show you where I've been, well, trying to wire edge around here anyways. So I've finished welding it back and wire edging it round, but I've now lost swing of my finishing hammer to get round and tuck the skin back under the wire. So I'm going to have to try and manipulate that round better with some pliers. And that's this piece kind of finished and blended off. Holes marked for the rivets. There we go. Haven't got too mad dressing the weld out because it's a little bit low anyways. And you kind of, because I can't get to the back of it, makes sense to leave a bit of the meat on the edge there. Gross.
Oh, whoops, too big.
Not too bad at all, actually. Drilled the holes for the bumper mounts, and my plan where I set up the laser level and scribed it all off before I put the front end on works an absolute treat. They are spot on in the right place the holes are, which is amazing. Cool. Yeah, good. A bit tight around there. Right, we have skipped a few processes with the filming, only because we are really up against it. So I've kind of just knuckled down and cracked on with it. So the bonnet is also now mounted. So we've made and re-welded the tabs on, the mounting tabs for the bonnet hinges. That was interesting to say the least. Had the customer down. He wanted us to tighten up some of the gaps. So we've just been welding and filing back the gaps and just make sure the level's good with the bonnet. You can see we've got the headlight lenses in now and the bezels. Bumpers have been mounted, shimmed and trimmed to the body. Grille, that's sat in there really nicely now actually, quite happy with that. We had to dress quite a lot on the inside of the mouth and make some mounting tabs, so that's all done. Wiper mechanisms fitted to the deck panel there. So wing spears have also been mounted and welded on the trim panels down inside the door shutters. So yeah, getting there.
This is when you like fucking see a massive crack in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh,
You're on camera, mate. Don't
should
say
film
that.
that, should we?
Doors are off, and now I don't know if you remember, but when we were in the fab stages, we had to make panels to hold the weather strips down the front pillars here. Odd because they were missing completely. I can't remember where we got to. The DB6. Obviously, we've skipped a few stages. Main reason for that being, you know, it is quite a time-sensitive job, and we have found obviously more work as well. So we are just trying to knuckle on. It is in spray filler. So first of all, it went into epoxy. This is the Noble hybrid epoxy, and then this has gone to spray filler with some light filler in, and now we're just contouring the edges with the bonnet, so we get some perfect panel gaps. All down the doors are gapped. We had to do some extra work on the doors as well. Bit of extra work on the seals, but it's all been dry built. Customers come down, okayed it, and we're ready to get into primer pretty soon. So the next stage for us would be pulling off all the panels, doors, boot lid, etc., and get it into high build primer. Is that right? Yeah, also we've had the glass trial fitted with a new seal and everything like that, just to make sure the aperture is spot on, which obviously it is now anyways. Thank you. Cheers for watching, guys. DB6 done. After 6 months, we're finally ready to hand it over. So the guys are just doing the last minute preparation, checks, cleaning before it gets transported. Panel's been hung, The glass is in, mainly for transport purposes, but she's looking good. Thanks for watching our videos. There's been about 4 or 5 episodes in this along the series, so if you've been keeping up to all of them, thanks again for watching and tune in for our next ones.